Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're looking to land a job as a blockchain developer in the super exciting world of Web3, then you've absolutely come to the right place. Think of this as your personal guide for getting through the entire interview process, from that very first call all the way to the final offer. So let's start with the big idea, the concept that's at the heart of all this. This isn't just about some new tech. It's a fundamental rethink of what the internet can be, moving away from a few big companies in control towards a future that's more open, more transparent, and programmable by anyone. And that's exactly where you come in. This huge vision, it isn't just an idea on a whiteboard. It's being built right now, line by line of code by developers. They are literally the architects of this new digital frontier. Okay, so let's get down to it. We are going to break down the entire process for you, step by step, to give you a really clear, actionable plan. This is your roadmap to joining the ranks of those Web3 builders. First things first, why even make this jump? Why go Web3? Well, the simple answer is just opportunity. The demand for developers who know their way around blockchain is absolutely exploding right now across like a dozen different industries. And just look at this list. It really shows you how wide that demand is. We're not just talking about crypto finance anymore. This tech is completely changing gaming, how we think about digital identity, how companies are run with DAOs, you name it. Seriously, your skills are needed everywhere. All right, so you're sold, you're ready to apply. What does this interview gauntlet actually look like? Let's map out the whole process so you know exactly what to expect, with no surprises. Now, what's so important to see here is that this isn't just one technical test and you're done. No, it's a whole series of specialized rounds. You've got your smart contract coding, then system design, and a huge one on security. And just knowing these stages exist is half the battle. Okay, so how do we actually conquer that gauntlet? Well, you're going to need the right gear, the right toolkit. This next part covers all that core knowledge that interviewers are going to be grilling you on at every single step. Think of this table as your ultimate study guide. It breaks down everything you need. You've got the deep, fundamental stuff, like how consensus algorithms work, but you also need the hands-on skills, like building DApps with React. You really need to be comfortable across this entire stack. But okay, with all of this stuff on the table, is there like one thing, the one thing you absolutely have to nail, the one concept that, if you get it, proves you really understand the fundamentals? Yes, there is. Yup. It's this. The single most important process you need to know, backwards and forwards, is the life of a transaction. From the second a user signs it in their wallet to the moment it gets confirmed by the network and added to a block. If you can explain that journey clearly, you've passed a major test. Now, when you're actually writing the code that lives on the blockchain, you're mainly going to be working in one of two languages. Solidity is still king in the Ethereum world. It feels a lot like JavaScript, which is nice. But then you have Rust, which is just exploding in ecosystems like Solana, and it's loved for its speed and safety. All right, now we're getting to the rounds that separate the talkers from the builders, system design and security. This is where you have to take all that theory and use it to solve some really complex, real-world problems. So they'll give you a big, open-ended prompt, something like one of these. And look, they don't expect you to build the whole thing in 45 minutes. What they really want to see is how you think, how you break down a complex problem, and how you start to architect a solution from the ground up. And here's the pro move for how you do it. The key here is, don't just jump into the code. Use a structure like this one. You start by asking questions, clarifying everything. Then you walk them through your architecture, your data strategy, and you always talk about security and gas fees. It just shows you think like a pro. And this question right here, it might be the most important one you'll face in the entire process. In a world where code is law and money is on the line, security isn't just a nice to have, it's everything. Your answer here has to be sharp. Look, a great answer isn't just, oh, I'll be careful. A great answer names specific attacks, like reentrancy, and then it names the specific industry-standard tools and design patterns you'd use to stop them, like using OpenZeppelin's libraries. This tells them you're ready for the real world. Okay, so you've got all this knowledge in your head. Awesome. But now for the final piece of the puzzle. How do you prove it? This part is all about showing, not just telling, through a killer portfolio and a resume that really pops.
You know, theory is great, but nothing, and I mean nothing, speaks louder than a portfolio of actual working projects. Building something like an NFT marketplace or a basic DeFi app shows that you can actually take what you know and create something real with it.
Okay, here's a little insider secret for you. A real pro tip. Don't just say you built something, prove it. When you put the actual on-chain addresses of your deployed contracts on your resume, you're letting a recruiter check your work with one click. It shows so much confidence. And just as important, let's talk about what not to do. These are the red flags you have to avoid. If you only talk theory, if you're shaky on security, or if you ignore real-world stuff like gas fees, it's an immediate signal that you might not be ready. So instead, you want your resume to be full of green lights, right? Here's how you do it. Link to your GitHub and your portfolio, of course. Mention your deployments. But the big one, quantify your results. Optimize gas fees by 30% is a million times more powerful than just worked on optimization. I know this can feel like a ton of information, and if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, that's totally normal. But don't be. The trick is to break it down into manageable chunks. A 6-week roadmap like this is perfect. Just focus on one thing at a time, and you'll make real, steady progress. So let's wrap this up with one final thought, and it's a big one. As you're going through all this prep, remember what this is really all about. You're not just writing code for another app. You're building systems of trust that don't need a middleman. That is the real mission here. Good luck out there.